You're exhausted. Your body is begging for sleep. You can barely keep your eyes open during the day. But the second your head hits the pillow at night, boom, wide awake. It makes absolutely no sense. You lie there getting more and more frustrated, watching the minutes tick by, knowing that every minute you stay awake is one less minute of sleep you'll get. And the frustration makes you more awake, which makes you more frustrated, which makes you more awake. It's psychological torture. You've tried everything. Melatonin, magnesium, sleep teas, meditation apps, counting sheep, counting backwards from 1,000. Some nights you finally fall asleep at 4 a.m., only to wake up at 6 feeling like you got hit by a bus. And the worst part? Nobody really understands. They tell you to just relax, just don't think about it. Just close your eyes and it'll happen. If only it were that simple. You've tried everything. Melatonin, magnesium, sleep teas, meditation apps, counting sheep, counting backwards from 1,000. Some nights you finally fall asleep at 4 a.m., only to wake up at 6 feeling like you got hit by a bus. And the worst part? Nobody really understands. They tell you to just relax. Just don't think about it. Just close your eyes and it'll happen. If only it were that simple. But what if I told you the reason you can't sleep has nothing to do with being tired enough or relaxed enough? What if the entire problem is that you're trying to fall asleep? And what if there's a 3-minute technique developed by insomnia researchers that works by doing the exact opposite of what every sleep expert tells you to do? A method so counterintuitive that when scientists first published the results, other researchers thought it was a mistake. But the data was clear. People using this technique fell asleep in an average of 8 minutes, compared to 43 minutes for the control group. And the people who struggled the most with insomnia got the best results. Stay with me because this 3-minute technique will completely flip everything you thought you knew about falling asleep. Welcome to Mind Hacks Lab, where we break down counterintuitive science into practical methods. And if you've ever spent hours lying awake frustrated that you can't fall asleep, hit that like button, because this technique is about to change your nights forever. Here's what's actually happening when you can't fall asleep. Your brain has 2 modes, awake mode and sleep mode. In awake mode, your brain is actively trying to do things, solve problems, control situations. In sleep mode, your brain lets go of control and drifts. The problem is you can't force yourself from awake mode into sleep mode. It's like trying to force yourself to forget something. The harder you try, the more you remember it. The harder you try to fall asleep, the more awake you become. Because trying is an awake mode activity. Sleep only comes when you stop trying. But here's the catch. If I tell you to stop trying to fall asleep, you'll try to stop trying, which is still trying. It's a mental trap with no way out. This is a problem that drove insomnia researcher Kevin Espy crazy back in 2003. He was working with patients who had chronic insomnia, people who hadn't slept properly in years, and he noticed something strange. The harder his patients tried to follow sleep hygiene rules, the worse their insomnia got. Perfect dark room, perfect temperature, no screens, meditation. Everything by the book, and still awake for hours. Then one night during a research session, one of his patients said something that changed everything. She said, "I fall asleep fine when I'm not supposed to, like on the couch watching TV or in a boring meeting. But the second I try to sleep in my bed, I'm wide awake." And that's when it clicked for Espy. The problem wasn't the environment or the routine. The problem was the intention to sleep. Espy developed something called paradoxical intention therapy for insomnia. And the core instruction is almost laughably simple. When you go to bed, your only job is to try to stay awake as long as possible. That's it. No try to sleep, no try to relax, no try to clear your mind. Just lie there comfortably with your eyes gently closed and try to stay awake. And here's what happens. The moment you stop trying to fall asleep, you remove the performance anxiety. You remove the pressure. There's no way to fail at staying awake because you're already doing it. Your brain shifts out of effortful awake mode and into passive letting go mode. And passive letting go is exactly the state where sleep happens. Here's the exact 3-minute protocol. Step 1. Go to bed only when you're actually sleepy, not just tired. There's a difference. Tired is physical fatigue. Sleepy is when your eyelids are heavy and you could drift off. If you're not sleepy yet, Don't go to bed. Step 2, get in bed, lie down in a comfortable position, and gently close your eyes. Not squeeze shut, just naturally closed. Step 3, and this is a critical part. Tell yourself your only job is to stay awake as long as you can. Say it in your head. I'm going to try to stay awake. I'm not going to let myself fall asleep. And then just lie there with that intention. Don't do anything active to stay awake. No opening your eyes, no moving around, no thinking about exciting things. Just passively try to stay awake with your eyes gently closed in a comfortable position. That's it. That's the entire technique. Now here's what not to do. Don't actively try to stay awake. Don't open your eyes. Don't start thinking about work or problems or anything stimulating. Don't move around or shift positions constantly. Don't check the clock. All of that is effortful awake mode. You're passively trying to stay awake, which sounds like a contradiction but makes perfect sense. You're just lying there with the gentle intention of not falling asleep, but you're not doing anything to make it happen. You're just being, and in that gentle resistance to sleep, sleep sneaks up on you. Here's why this works on a neurological level. When you try to fall asleep, you activate your prefrontal cortex, the control center of your brain. You're monitoring yourself, evaluating whether you're getting sleepy yet, worrying about whether it's working. All of that is active brain activity that keeps you in awake mode. But when you try to stay awake, you paradoxically relax that monitoring. There's nothing to evaluate. You're already doing what you're trying to do, which is being awake. So your prefrontal cortex powers down. Your default mode network, the daydreaming resting part of your brain, takes over. And that's the neural state where sleep happens. You've essentially tricked your brain out of its own way. Espy publishes research on this in the Journal of Behavior Therapy and showed that people using paradoxical intention fell asleep significantly faster than control groups. But more importantly, they reported way less anxiety about sleep, because once you remove the pressure to perform, once you remove the possibility of failure, sleep stops being the stressful thing you have to achieve. It just becomes something that happens when you get out of the way. Follow-up studies found that this technique works best for people who have performance anxiety around sleep, people who lie there stressed that they're not falling asleep fast enough. If that's you, this will be a game changer. Now, let me be honest about what to expect the first night you try this. It's going to feel weird, really weird. You've spent years trying to fall asleep, and now I'm telling you to try to stay awake. Your brain is going to resist the instruction. You'll probably catch yourself slipping back into trying to fall asleep. That's normal. Just gently remind yourself, no, I'm trying to stay awake. The first night, you might actually stay awake longer than usual because the technique feels so strange. That's okay. You're retraining years of conditioned behavior. Some people fall asleep in minutes on the first try. Other people need 3 or 4 nights before their brain gets it. But here's what everyone reports. Even when it doesn't work perfectly the first night, they feel less anxious because there's no pressure. Here's an important addition to the technique. If you've been lying there trying to stay awake for 15 minutes and you're still wide awake and getting frustrated, get out of bed. Go to another room. Do something boring for 10 minutes like staring at the wall or reading something dry. Then come back and try again. Why? Because if you lie in bed awake and frustrated for too long, your brain starts associating the bed with being awake and frustrated. You're conditioning yourself to have insomnia. The bed should only be associated with sleep or the gentle practice of trying to stay awake. Nothing else. If frustration creeps in, reset, leave the bed, break the association, come back fresh. The biggest mistake people make with this technique is they try too hard to stay awake. Remember, you're not actively fighting sleep. You're not pinching yourself or thinking about exciting things. You're just lying there comfortably with the gentle intention of staying awake. Second mistake, they give up after one night. This is a retraining process. You conditioned yourself to feel anxious about sleep for possibly years. One night won't undo all of that. Give it at least a week. Third mistake, they start monitoring whether they're getting sleepy. That's evaluation mode. That's prefrontal cortex activity. That's the opposite of what we want. Just lie there with the intention to stay awake and let whatever happens happen. No monitoring, no checking, no evaluating. Let me give you the complete 3-minute paradoxical intention protocol. Step 1. Only go to bed when you're actually sleepy, not just tired. Heavy eyelids could drift off, that's sleepy. Step 2. Get in bed, lie in a comfortable position, gently close your eyes. Step 3. Tell yourself your only job is to try to stay awake as long as possible. Step 4. Don't do anything active to stay awake. Just lie there passively with that intention. Step 5. If you're still awake and frustrated after 15 minutes, get out of bed, do something boring for 10 minutes. Then try again. That's it, the entire technique. Simple but profoundly effective because it removes the one thing keeping you awake, the effort to fall asleep. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever fallen asleep easily when you weren't trying, like on the couch or during a boring lecture, but struggled in bed? Drop a comment, because that's the paradox this technique exploits. And if you tried this tonight, come back and let me know how it went. I read every comment. And if this paradoxical intention technique just blew your mind and gave you a completely new way to approach sleep, smash that like button because it tells YouTube other people struggle with insomnia and need to see this. Subscribe to Mind Hacks Lab because every week I break down another counterintuitive science principle that elite performers use and turn it into something you can apply tonight. These aren't theories, these are research-backed methods at work. Now here's the thing. This paradoxical intention technique works amazing for falling asleep initially. But what about when you wake up at 3 a.m. and your mind starts racing? That's a different problem that requires a different solution. In the next video, I'm going to show you the middle-of-the-night cognitive reset that therapists teach to people with severe insomnia. It's designed specifically for that 3 a.m. anxiety spiral, when your brain won't shut up. It's the perfect companion to what you just learned and will give you complete control over your sleep, beginning, middle, and end of the night.